Greetings, everyone. It's John here. I'd like to welcome you all to this episode. Hope everyone is doing well. I got a little bit of unfortunate news, depending on your perspective, anyway. When we first started this basic budgeting series, I had said this was going to be a mini series and we would just kind of see how things would go out. And so far, the feedback's been really good. And, I see the numbers on the views, like those look all right. I did try a little bit different format last time. It was something a little bit more topical. And I didn't really get a whole lot of feedback. So I wasn't sure how to take that. But I think naturally we've just come to the end of the mini series because the goal was to teach you how to make a budget. And at least we have a little bit more work to do, and we're going to do that in today's episode to finish that out for the rest of this calendar year. Because I feel like once you have the basis there, even though we didn't get to play our fictional scenario out maybe the way that I had envisioned it, that's okay. I'm far more concerned that you have the fundamentals on how to create your budget and maintain it. And of course, I will certainly be available for questions if you need that. So without further ado, I would like to go ahead and share my screen here. Yes. All right. Okay, we are back in our Excel document. And you'll notice it looks different from last time we left. So prior to making this episode, I was looking at this spreadsheet and I realized I wasn't following my own advice that I was giving to you guys. So I apologize. So July of this month is a little bit different. That's a pretty big month. Victor's going to have 3 pay periods. And I did not account for that. So I went ahead and corrected that. It's the same information, but he has, he's going to get paid 3 times. And that's pretty normal. In a normal calendar year, you'll typically have, if you get paid biweekly, you'll typically have 2 extra pay periods. There'll be 2 months in which you have an extra pay period. And that definitely helps out a lot. I know when I was getting out of debt, having that extra, pay period in the month was just like, it's like, it's just really nice, because you're working towards that goal, and it's a little bit extra boost there. At least makes it feel like it's going a little bit faster. So I went ahead and updated at least this part up here. So if you remember, we had the $2,500, or Victor had the $2,500 medical debt. Well, if we look in July, he made $2,836.20. So he's not only going to pay off that medical debt, he's going to have money left over. And the amount that he's going to have, and I'll just show you, I just put 0 there because obviously that's going to be paid off. And the amount left over that he's going to have is going to be $336.20. Because that's leftover cash, I put that in green, not to conflate that, because that's not debt. So now we get to move on to our next debt. And by the way, you'll notice I did put the little checkbox here. And I put that here. If you wanted to do something down here, you could do that. I mean, you could easily just get rid of it, but we're going to keep it there. So the credit card, $5,300. And what I'd like to do for this episode, I'd like to take us through the end of this calendar year. Because like I said, I think that that's going to give you the basis of at least finish what we started talking about. Okay, so Okay, so again, we have August here. Looks like total remaining is $1,094.80. Okay. That looks good. So we're going through that. And you'll notice I have it highlighted here. In October, we're going to have another one of those same type of months where there's an extra pay period in the month. So let's go ahead, build September out. And by the way, at the beginning of each year, this is actually when you'll do all this, just so you don't miss it. You'll end up closing this book out. You really will be closing the books for the calendar year by December 31st. And then you'll create a new spreadsheet for the new calendar year. And what I'm kind of a dork. I find it to be kind of fascinating to go back in prior years to see what I was doing. And then I scratch my head thinking, why did you do it that way? I think it's fascinating to go back and look at. It's kind of looking at old homework assignments. If you're into that, like, what was I thinking? Why did I phrase it like that? Or an old journal, because it is kind of a journal in its own sense. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this going. Okay. And again, like I mentioned, we're going to copy this again, but I'm going to make sure that we're making it unique for the month. August. I want to make sure that makes sense. That does. So this will be the 11th and 25th. So ideally, you would do this before. Once you get in the flow of this, you'll be doing kind of your budget outline for the year before it actually begins. So in Victor's case, for 2021, he will have already done this, and he would, because then that means when prior to September, Victor can just go in and say, okay, what do I need to adjust? What do I need to add, like the wedding gift? And just makes it a lot easier. Obviously, in September, he's not going to have a wedding gift because, well, I shouldn't say obviously. I'm making that up. Him and Anna did not get invited to a wedding in September. They're popular, but they're not that popular. October. So this is our month. So in months where there's 3 pay periods like this, again, I'm going to go back to that last month. I'm going to copy it. Okay, again. All right, let's check our dates for October. So we said September was the 18th, so it'd be the 2nd, 16th, and 30th. Okay. You know what? Victor and Anna may not be as popular to be invited to 2 weddings, but they did get invited to a Halloween party. Okay. For their costumes, again, and this is an important distinction too, actually, as I'm making this up on the fly. while they're not married, Victor and Anna are not going to be mixing their finances together. Now, obviously, Victor is going to, do the things that he should, buy her flowers every once in a while. But yeah, mixing finances, a big no-no. Don't do it. If you're not married, just don't. The Halloween party, Victor is going to go to the Goodwill. He's going to spend about $20 on a costume. Okay. And again, we're just going to finish this year and then we'll go back to our schedule tab and we'll get this all added. It makes it a little bit easier. Okay. Oh. November. The 30th, so 1927. Okay. Then we'll do December. Okay. Let's see what December looks like. Okay. Victor's going to get paid on Christmas Day this year. That's pretty cool. All right. So September. So $1,144.80 is what we have this month. Okay. October. We got $2,816.20. $16.20. I'm sorry. Yes, that's correct. All right, so they're getting pretty close down here. That month of October definitely helped. So then that means we're gonna have to split it again for November. Like we said, obviously there's only 1 month of November, but because he's going to pay this off, we have to do something with the difference. So in November, he's going to be making $1,144.80. Okay. So we will just, since we know that that's obviously going to pay it off, we'll do that. Minus $244.30. Okay. So that's going to leave us with $900.60. I just did another calculation on another spreadsheet I have here. So again, that's cash. Oops. It's not the level of green that I want. So then that means we're going to just see. I guess you can see what I did. So that means that for the month of December, we're gonna be able to apply that as an extra payment, which is awesome. Or what am I saying? It's paid off. So he's paid. So we can actually change the goal to pay off the credit card, and that's okay to do if it's for the better. Just hold yourself accountable. Don't. If you said you're going to pay it off, if I put on here that I'm going to have the credit card paid off by the end of the month or by the end of the year, don't move that goalpost. But if it's for the better, because we initially said, hey, we're going to start paying off the credit card, but it gets done sooner. Obviously, it changed for the better, so we're going to make that reflective. EOY, end of year. So this is a pretty good year for Victor. Okay. So then we start on this massive $34,000 loan. But you know what I haven't done? And I should have done with the medical debt that messes everything up. We get to take this out. Okay. So now he's going to have $1,459.80 plus the $960 for the month of December. All right, so we have the 34,000, which is not going to be green. Okay. So let's just start with what we have left over from November. So I would say B13 minus B12. That's in red. Then we're going to do the month, which is $1,459.80. I forget this number of cents. 80 cents. Okay. All right. That is what he has projected. Oh, and I didn't do. This is what I did on my actual budget when I was getting out of debt. I would put notes like this, exactly like this. And kept me encouraged. That's not bad. I mean, you look at where Victor was in June to where he wants to be. He has a medical debt paid off, a credit card paid off, and he knocked almost $4,000, I believe between $3,000 and $4,000 off that auto loan in 6 months. That's impressive. Just think how bright 2021 is going to be for him. And he's going to do that budget. He will complete that out, and he'll be able to see, man, I'm going to be able to get this auto loan paid off, and then I'm going to be able to start making some real headway Because again, let's just do a little, this is what I used to do again when I was getting out of debt. I'm like, man, what's my budget going to be like when I pay off this auto loan? I would just take this out and I would just sit there and daydream. I'd be like, wow, I'm going to really be able to attack on that next debt. And of course, I have to do the undo button because I have to put it back in there because that's my reality at that point in time. But you should do that. Again, I know I've talked about daydreaming a lot. It can be kind of monotonous when you're going through it, but always keep your eye on what it is that's your why. And I talked about that in my previous episodes. Why do you want to get out of debt? Why do you want to clear this out of your life? What are you willing to sacrifice in order to do that? And that was the other thing I wanted to touch on, was the discipline to adhering to the budget. Because so far, kind of flying through this, I've made a pretty big assumption. And that's Victor's one tough dude. He's saying the word no to a lot of things that he otherwise would like to say yes to. Saying no to eating out, saying no to buying brand new clothes. Yeah, it's a struggle. And that's something where you're going to look to shop around for the best price. And I didn't really touch on this when we were doing car insurance. That was an area where I was paying way too much for my car insurance prior to starting this, and I started shopping around. I saved quite a bit of money doing that. And I switched my cell phone carrier too. Yeah, that's perfectly okay. And that's encouraged, actually. And when you're kind of getting out of debt, I mean, you're trying to buy things on the cheap. You really are. And when you're talking about tangible things, the goal is that it's not a forever thing. And when I use that term loosely, it's not even a long-term thing, because I'll use an example. So when I was getting out of debt, I was buying a lot of the generic brand Chef Boyardee. So it didn't have the little peel off aluminum can thing. It had just your standard can, like your vegetables come in. You have to use a can opener. Of course, I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a can opener, so the supermarket sells them for like $2, really cheap ones. Guess how many of those cheap can openers I went through? I think it was either the first 6 months to a year. I must have went through like 3 or 4 can openers because they just kept breaking because they were just so cheap. Finally, I think once I paid off, it was either my first or second account, I said, all right, that's it. I'm going to Target. I'm going to spend $25 on a KitchenAid can opener. And I still have that can opener to this day. So understandably, you're not going to always be able to buy the nicest things. But in time, of course, you want to buy, once you're out of debt, or even starting to get out of debt, buying things a little bit more quality that might last a little bit longer. That's okay. Because all that does when you do that, it just moves the goalpost for when you're going to get out of debt. And that's why checking this and editing this pretty much daily is really going to keep you accountable. This is really important. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for just listening to this series. And I really want to make myself available. If you have any questions, leave me a comment, come up to me, come talk to me. If we need to look at something, it's 100% confidential. I'm not going to charge you or anything like that. I mean, I'd love to help you. That's why I created this series. So again, thank you guys for listening, and hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.